2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 2, 8.
Welcome everybody, this is Dustin, and I'm your host. I'm going to do some painting with you today, and we're going to have some fun and get into this, and I want to do kind of I love the forest, I love trees and stuff like that, so I want to do kind of a foresty vibe thing, so we have that feel, and it's going to be more of like a one where the sun pokes through and sneaks through and shines itself all over. So I'm going to start with just filling in the background, and I want to do it with like an orange. So I'm not going to go crazy with this. I just want to, I might head more to the yellow. We'll see in just a second here. Yeah, I know yellow, we want to move it right to the middle, right? We want that light yellow, but I just want to fill in some spots just to make sure that we have no sky that's empty back there. It's just a golden sunset. We want that golden feel. And it's going to be deep forest, but it's going to be that one place where that sun just shines through, pops through. You can see it very nicely. Now I may have to add a little bit of extra yellow. Yellow. Why? Because I didn't put as much as I wanted to on this. Which is good. We're fine. We're back. All right. So a little bit more orange here in the bottom. I want to make it feel a little bit darker back here in this spot. But when you blend it and marble it up a little bit like that, it's still going to have that feel like that. If you see any of it through, it's going to have that sunny feel. Now, through here, we're going to want to jump into the yellow, straight yellow. We'll kind of blend it in with what's there. Again, slap it on. Don't be afraid. And so when you're blending, we want to blend from our lights into our darks, right? That's the key. Because right now it just looks like you got those lines there, but the more we go out into that color we already had there before, it's just going to pull that together. And now I'm going to finish it all the way across. I might just blend it, yeah, just keep the yellow more yellow over here. I was going to put a little bit orange there, but you know what? The color that we're going to put our background trees and stuff like that, we're going to put that orange, so I'm not overly worried about that at all. I'm not overly worried about that at all. Again, this is your painting. Have fun with it. Make sure you get creative and do your thing. Okay, so if you have little brush marks in there, if you see those brush marks, you want to get them out by just going left to right, all the way across while it's still wet. And that's just going to smoothen it right out. And get rid of those brush marks and lift them off. That way you don't have to worry about brush marks now, do you? Right? Don't have to worry about brush marks. I'm just going to send this back just a little bit. Excuse me. Do I want to go further? No. I think I'm okay. Well, maybe just a touch. I was going to blend a little bit of white, and I still might yet, into the middle area of this yellow. I'm just going to add it with a bit of yellow. See what that does. Yeah. Just a little bit. Just lighten up a couple little spots there. Give it the feel of like it's just a little bit lighter than everything else. You know what? Maybe it didn't do it as much as I wanted it to. I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. Excuse me. Maybe we just want to put a little bit more white and blend it in. It's just in this area really that I want it. Left to right. If you know how to pull the brush off the canvas, you'll be okay. All right, so next, I'm going to go into yellow with a touch of orange. Oh, I keep forgetting to mention. Well, I don't keep forgetting to mention. $2 brush, $2 plate, $2 paint. Keep it simple. Keep it so it's easy for anyone to paint. Anyone to paint. You want to keep it easy. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into yellow, a little bit of orange, a little bit of brown. It's going to be almost a peachy color. I might have to go a little bit darker. We'll see. I might have to add just a touch of... No, I think this will be okay for now. What you're trying to do is you're trying to make it close to the same color, but just a hint darker, so when you put in some background trees and shrubbery, whatever it is, that it's going to look like it's a part of the picture. Or a part of the background, just way distant back there. Right? This is just the light stuff. Just super light stuff. Maybe that connects to the tree right there. It's okay that it's nice and light. I got no problem with that. Maybe we want one back here. Every good tree needs a friend, as Mr. Ross says. Right, just some distant trees back in there. Let's put some over here. I want to leave this area kind of open. That's where I want the light shining through the most. So keep that area open. Let's see, maybe a nice bigger one right beside it. That's okay. Right there's a spot. Then we're going to start filling it in a little bit with a few more. Again, keeping it close to the same color, just so they pop out a little bit. I'll start adding some branches and stuff in a minute. I'm not too worried about that right now. Again, I just want to make it look like there's some trees back there, some simple things, and maybe they'll have, let's see, maybe we want just a little tree. Nothing fancy, just the show of one. Something back there, right? Something back there. And we'll come in, we'll fill some of this area in. I might go a little bit lighter and see if we can sneak maybe a little lighter tree back there. Let's go back over this guy and pull him down. Maybe it's too light. Maybe just a touch too light. That's okay. Okay. I think we're okay with that. So I'm going to take out more of a liner brush. This guy is small, round. Just like that. Just like that. Just a liner brush. And I'm going to go into that same color. Now, I can add a little bit of water to it. Excuse me. I can add a little bit of water to it. And what that does is that's going to allow me to have that paint flow off a little bit easier off the brush. The brush. Fancy schmancy. Might want it a touch darker. Just a touch darker, you know? There we go. There we go. I think that's the color. All right, Just like that. Oh, even a hint lighter than that. This is where we're just throwing in a whole bunch of branches. Remember, when you connect your branches, you can go out from the tree, which does make it really easy. As long as you have enough water in there to come off your brush. If not, it doesn't come off as smooth and it doesn't flow as nice as you want it to. You know, in the meantime, I think we have a couple little trees back here. A couple of the smaller trees. We want them to stand out. We want some branches off them. Maybe this guy separates a little bit. This guy goes left a little bit. This guy goes off here. Just the indication. There's some trees back there, a bunch of trees. So this is kind of our first layer. We're working on our first layer. We want it to stand out, but not crazy. We want to make it look like it's all faded back in there. Now, man, remember, when you are pulling your branches off your trees, just remember that your branch can't be wider than your trunk. But it's got to be wider when you connect to the trunk. Make it connect, so push down a little bit harder when you pull it to that trunk and go down with it. On these type of trees, they're not just the straight in branches that go straight to the trunk. These ones curve down a little bit. You might have to add just a touch of water if you find that it's not coming off your brush smooth. What it does, it not just keeps the paint thin, so it comes off easier, but it keeps your brush thinner, so you're able to make those thinner lines. Because you want those to be able to swiggle. Just a touch more brown in there. Maybe a little more orange even. Yeah. Oh, I put a little bit of yellow in there. No, that's okay. That's okay, we're okay. All right, we're doing good back here. Maybe this one stands in front of the other ones. If it's a little bit darker, maybe pull it a little bit forward so that it's a little bit closer in the picture. And that's done by making it a little bit darker, a little more vivid. Light color means depth. Way back there. Less detail. Simple details are what's going to make that pop. I think we're working pretty good in the right area here. We are almost where we want to be. I think we want to start our next layer. I'm okay with this. You okay with that? I think I'm okay with that. Actually, you know what? On the right side here, I might do just a couple more branches. Just a couple more branches on this tree. Again, a little bit more water. Sorry, I might have a little bit of the sniffles here. And the reason why is we got a snowstorm tonight and last night. And, well, you know what usually happens in that when you're trying to get out of your driveway and you got a driveway that you've been driving in the same kind of spot all winter. And you've been wearing down one kind of path and it's built up, and then as soon as you go off that path, you get stuck. Let's just put it that way. So I got stuck and I did hours of shoveling today. Now, normally, you know, I might get upset and frustrated, but I don't know. Today I just didn't care. And I was like, you know what? I'll get out when I get out. And slowly worked my way out. And you know what? I got out and I got to the street. And you know what I realized? There was a lot of snow. And I got stuck on the street. So I got stuck there too. And it took me about 20 minutes. You know what? I was trying to look for sand and I thought I had sand. And I was like, oh no, I have no sand anywhere. But I remembered that with my photography kit, I always have sandbags for weights to make sure I hold my lights down so they don't fall. And you know what? Voila. Worked perfect. So now all I'm doing is I'm just throwing in the indication of some leaves back there. So leaves you're not just going to put right on the branch. You're going to move it around because sometimes the light hits it and hides the branch and stuff like that. But your leaves are still present, right? Or maybe your leaves are covering up the branch. So don't be afraid to get those leaves out there and let them be seen. Let them be seen. Let them be seen. Alright, here we go. We're getting there. I could use a different brush and tap on some branches or some more leaves, but I'm just using what I got, you know? Use what you got, you know? Now, these are some light ones. I want these for the background, but I'm going to come up with even darker ones on different trees because I want them to stand out more. You know, see, maybe a little bit of a branch there and some more tree leaves. I'm adding a touch more orange, and you can add water to this too as well. Excuse me. So I guess what I was getting at there with being out in the cold is, man, it just seemed to, you know, clog you up just a little bit. So fill in the trees like you'd see in nature, you know what I mean? Don't just put a few here and a few there. Kind of trees, you know, certain ones, depends on what kind of tree it is, has more of a roundness to it. Some might have more of a triangle shape to it, and some just, you know, flat with, you know, you get some of those African style trees. I can't remember the name of them, I apologize, but you get some of those trees and they have just little flat branches that just little clumps of leaves on them with long roots or arms or whatever you want to call these blue branches. Maybe I want to throw one more little tree here. Just a tiny little guy. Just a couple little branches off. Maybe one more here. And then we're going to add some more leaves to there. At least make it look like leaves. Now I'm going to come in and there's some more stuff I want to add to this area. I think I'd like to put I'm going to go a little bit lighter yellow. Or whatever color we're working with here. And I'm going to put back here. It's going to almost look like a little bit of a cliff. Now you can do this before, you can do it after. I decided now that I want it in there. So obviously I'm doing it after. Okay, it's just going to look like, I'm going to come back and do a little bit of orange on top. That's the beauty of painting. You know, you can mess up and you can rearrange things and it's like, you know what? Yeah, we're going to come back after and we're going to fix this and we're going to do something a little bit different. Hey, that's fine. That is just fine. Then you can come back in and cover stuff up. Nothing wrong with that. Now I'm going to add a little bit more orange, a little more brown, touch more yellow, a little bit of water. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to create almost like a little bit of a cliff where a waterfall lives. Yeah. We don't want it to be too bright or too dark back there because we're still way in the distance. You know, we're still way in the distance. We're still way back here in the distance. So, you know what? I'm going to pull it over a little bit like that. That's fine. I'm good with that. I'm good with that. There we go. There we go. I'm okay with that. Now, what we're going to do is I'm going to bring some white in there, and I'll make it look proper. All proper and whatnot. Maybe this is a place where we have that another tree. I'll fix that in a minute. So I'm going to clean my brush just a bit because I want to get that darker stuff off, and I'm going to get back into the lighter for a second, just because I want to add maybe just a really soft tree back there. Nothing crazy, but just so you know it's there. Look at that. It's just way back there. Way back there. And then we're going to pull out maybe another one over here. Yeah, why not? Why not? That's the perfect spot for that next little tree. Okay, so what I'm going to do next is I'm going to add a little bit of white and a little bit of yellow. Now, I don't know if I'm going to use this brush. I might just keep it this brush and just see if I want to see if I can make that. I might need a little more yellow yet. Might need a little more yellow yet. Because I don't want pure white. I don't think pure white is meant to be in this picture like that. Now I'm going to create, let's try and spread the brushes just a little bit. We want it to just drop from that little ledge right there. All the way down. Right? We're making that little waterfall drop. It's not going to be a long one. Beautiful. Beautiful. Now, let's put one more. Yeah, let's put another part of it right here. We're going to make it so it covers most of this. This will kind of be together. Yes, sir. Oh, that's a spot. Okay, so up here, I'm just going to make it look like it's just coming back from this spot, maybe. Or maybe there's a little plateau of water up here. And again, you can play with this all you want. This doesn't have to be perfect. This doesn't have to be perfect. You know what? Maybe we want that waterfall coming from way back here. Maybe it's just a little creek between those two trees. Simple. Now, I'm going to pull it down a little bit further. And then I want to swirl a little bit down here. Make it look like it's foaming up a little bit. And you can go in there with your brush and get some scruffy little edges maybe and splash a couple spots upwards. You know, where it's splashing. Yeah, just splash some spots. Don't get too crazy. Don't get too crazy. Okay, now that I got that color, kind of how I want it, I'm going to come back in and I'm going to put a little bit of a land base. Fill in this area. I'm not sure where I want to take this waterfall. I might leave it way back there in the distance, you know? Sometimes it's good just to leave stuff alone back there. Now, I'm not going to come up... Oh, man. I might have to go a little bit darker. Not that I necessarily want to, but just to make it stand out. So, because we're getting close to the foreground, right? And if we get close to that foreground, then we really have to pump in the dark colors and go from there. So I'm going to switch brushes here, because now we're hitting some big stuff again. So I'm going to take that little bit darker brown, Just a little bit darker brown, yellow, orange, all three together. Okay. Let's just pull our land base up a little bit further. Who knows, maybe I'm going to have that stream just come right through here. Yeah, I might. You know, it's almost looking like it should, eh? It's almost looking like it should. I'm going to pull this up on this ledge because, you know, I don't have the proper easel because, you know what? I just don't, okay? I don't have any other excuses, I just don't. Now, I want to go darker with this here towards the front. I want it almost black. I want to be able to have some grass and stuff on there, and I want it to stand out. So the further we come forward, the blacker I want it to get. Now, it means I have to blend it a little bit back, and so I guess I got to put it back a little bit further for a second. You know, that's okay. That's okay. Maybe I want this piece of area to be a little more further north or further, you know, toward us than back there. So that's how you do it. You just a little bit darker of a landscape. Pull it out on top of it a little bit. Just pull it out like that. Yes, sir. That's fine. That's fine. Now, go back into that brown. Maybe here is just gonna be right. Maybe this is where we want it, just like that, like so. All right, maybe a little bit more orange. That's fine. Separate that land a little bit. Okay, we're not going crazy, crazy, crazy. We're kind of going crazy a little bit. I almost forgot to show you guys the bottom part a little bit closer up. Okay. So a little bit of orange, touch of black. So we're going a little bit darker brown here, right in this area. I could go and build it up, but I want this forest flat. And then I'll pull in some black somewhere in this area here, a little bit more. I'll go black straight to the bottom. Black straight to the bottom. Don't forget, we want to keep this golden, kind of like golden hour. For any of you guys that take photos, golden hour is the best time to do it. You get out there and the sun is just right and it's not too harsh and everything just feels like heaven. It's gold and it just radiates gold and it just makes the perfect shots, you know. You gotta find the perfect spot first. And then you get the, actually to be honest with you, golden hour you can probably just aim your camera as long as you know how to put it in the right direction. And you're good to go. I'm going to put a little bit darker black over here on some spots just because I like how that looks and I want to let that dry. Okay, that's okay. I'm a little bit darker. It's just a little bit darker. Now, I'm going to clean my brush. I'm going to go back in to yellow, brown, orange, and I want to start pulling up just a little bit darker trees, more to the brown side, to the dark brown side. So it's going to be that dark brown, maybe something like that in there. So we have orange, just a touch of yellow, and a touch of black. Yeah, I think that's where we're at for now. And we want to pull up a couple trees. Not a whole bunch, we just want, you know, maybe one that's going to be right there. Right? Right there. It's going to hit that spot. It's going to land in that area there. Do we want it wider? That's the question. I think we might. So I'll add a second part to it. Look at that. Boom. It's okay. We got this, you guys. We got this. Now, from there, again, you can absolutely go and pull out your little brush if you want. I just find that the bigger brush, once you get a little bit more paint on it, you know how to use it, it pulls that paint off nice and easy, so it's not a big deal to me. A couple more branches and that's kind of where we'll have it. I probably don't need to go all the way up because I'm just going to throw some highlights on this, and it's just going to be one of those trees in the background. We want some bigger ones in the front that's going to pop. So on this side, I want to pull one more down to here, right? And again, these trees, the reason why we're throwing them here, we want them seen. I want these to be seen. I don't want them hidden. Right? Like, it's nice to hide trees sometimes, but hey, sometimes you gotta have these guys be seen. Now, I might actually, you know what? You're right. You're right. I see it. I see it. I want it down further. And I put a little bit of black in there. See if I can make it a little bit darker. A little bit darker. That's a big tree. That is a big tree. Okay. This is going to get fun. I'm telling you right now. Because we're going to go brown and black. Just straight brown and black. And I just want to put the indication of where I want that next tree. Sit on that ledge right there. That's it. That's the spot. That is the spot. And this guy's big too. And again, he's going to be hidden by a lot of stuff because we're going to put some leaves and stuff up there. But this guy's just a big tree. We're talking like big redwoods maybe. I don't know. California seems to have some pretty mighty trees down there in their forest. And then the last tree that we do in this forest is going to be just a big chunker over here. Right? Just a big guy over here. Now, a little bit of water if you need to make that paint come off a little bit smoother so we're not... We want those edges sharp, right? How are you going to get sharp edges if it's just... Your water is almost... Or your paint is coming off almost dry. It just doesn't have the same effect. All right. A little bit more. There we are. It's a big guffer. She's a big guffer. All right. Just a little bit more here. Yes, sir. Okay, so now I'm going to go back into that lighter color. A little bit of yellow, a little bit of orange, a little bit of brown. Yellow, orange, and brown. A little bit darker, a little bit darker. Yellow, orange, and brown. And I'm going to make my bristles a little bit. I think that's the color. Pretty darn close. You could always throw in a touch of red, and that might help as well. I want to just tap on, like there's some leaves back up in here. See that? Just tapping it on. Round that out a little bit. Now, before I get going down too crazy in here, I am going to pull out some sunbeams by this tree. All right, I'm liking that. I do want to add a bit of a branch to this one. Maybe off the backside I'll throw a little bit of one. Yeah. One more. One more there. All right, let's see if we're doing good. We're doing good. We're getting close. We're getting close, I'm telling you. So I'm not going to do a whole bunch more to these because I do want to move forward. And if you do this yourself, you can take all the time you want, you know? Get those details in there if you want. You can get small details of like leaves. You can get details of like all the detail in the trees if you really want to get technical. But I think I want to keep this relatively simple. Now, I'm making it look like this one's just a hint forward, even though it's not really. It's about equal by putting just a bit darker leaves on there, okay? All right. Just a bit more, maybe. Just a couple more, cover part of that. No. What I want to do is I think I'm going to go into that color there. Yeah. I got to clean my brush off really good. This part's important. Vitally important. So what I want to do here is I want some of that yellow and that white. Maybe just the slightest touch of orange in there. Yeah, orange, yellow, white, and orange. All right, I'm gonna see if I can pull this off. I might be, I might fail at it, but let's try it anyway. So what I want to do is make it look like. No, I gotta go whiter. A little bit lighter. I want it to pop. We just want it to make it look like there's some sun shining through these areas. Right? Some sun shining through these areas. That's the spot right there. Yes, sir. That sun is shining through. Let's see, I might hit just a couple more spots. So what we can do is when I'm pulling the grass into it maybe a little bit, is we'll make it look like it's shining on the grass in certain spots. So we'll do those colors a little bit more vibrant maybe or something like that. So I want just a little more yellow in there. My yellow keeps disappearing real fast because apparently I'm using a lot of yellow in this. All right. Okay, I'm liking that. So here's what I'm going to do. On that tree back there, I'm taking some of that yellow, and all I'm going to do is this. Just a few highlights along that edge. I might have to go over some of it with that yellow one more time. Should be a touch darker, right? Should be a touch darker. All we're doing is giving the indication of some highlights over here. Don't want to go too crazy. Not yet. We'll get there soon. And then we'll touch that yellow, because that's the spot that hit. And be like, hey, that needs to touch that edge. And light up that edge. Light up. I'll get grass there in just a minute. We'll focus on that in just a minute. And I will do like that, see? So once I have that ledge on, I could have put it on there earlier, you know. Sometimes I do things out of order, but guess what? It goes to show that you don't always have to do it in order. Is it better? Of course. But it's not the end of the world if you don't. Yeah. All right, let's get serious now. We're gonna take this to the next level, and all we're gonna do is we're gonna go in here with this brown, and I'm gonna add some highlights to this guy. Actually, you know, I probably should have added an outside branch to that guy here. One more. There we go. Bring him down just a little bit. Except for the darkness I want kind of on the back side, right? More on the back side. Light on the front side. Just a big fat guffer right there. All right. Let's get some highlights on there. Just flow with the way the tree is curving. Again, we're not going to go crazy on this, because I think we might have one more tree we want to hit. We're just putting some indications, like there's some tree lines, some shape to the tree. All right, I think we want to put in maybe a couple of those little branches off there. Just so we can add some more leaves. Leaves, leaves, leaves. We need leaves, folks. Let me go back up here and show you what's going on. We need leaves. Leaves, 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 leaves. Make it look like just a touch more brown and black. Maybe these leaves come in front of this tree just a little bit. We're going to separate them a little bit. See how we're filling that in? Just filling all that in. Just filling that in. It's a nice area to fill in. And I think what we're going to do now, let's go in and add, I'm going to go in and add a little bit of highlight to this tree. Just a little bit of highlight on that edge. I'll add some yellow in just a second, but I want to fill it up just a little bit. And again, I'm keeping it to the side that the sun is on. Keeping it to the side the sun is on. You could go in with a little bit more of a liner brush or something like that, and it might hit it and pop a little bit more. I'm going to hit it with that yellow. That yellow is just hitting that side right there, yes. Hitting that side right there. So now that we got that, I'm going to go into my green. And I want a dark green first. Actually, maybe we'll keep it a little bit lighter back there, you know. So I'm going to a green. Mixing a green, a little bit of green, a little bit of yellow maybe. A little bit of, yeah. Maybe a hint of black goes in there. Who knows? Yep, I gotta go darker. I have to go darker, sorry about that. Have to go darker. This is kind of maybe the color. Yeah, that's the color I want. All I'm going to do is start patting in some shrubbery down there. Just pat in a little bit. Now you can add a little more green if you need, if you think it's not bright enough. But I'll slowly add just a little more green as we go. In reality, I'm going to add some yellow to that green in certain areas where I want it to pop, like I said. So as I move forward a little bit, so I don't want to go too crazy over there. That's where I want to start adding it. And maybe there's a bush here that we want to add. Maybe we want to, add just a big, look at that. Just a nice bush, and it kind of separates here in the background. Maybe there's a big one over here. Oh yeah, look at that guy. Look at that guy, huh? Pull down just a little bit so you can see a little more what's going on. So add a little more of that bush over here. Now, I'm going to add, just before I get too crazy, go back into that kind of liner brush. And I'm going to go yellow, white. I want to fill this in just a little bit before we get going too far. And then we can put some edges on there if we want. Again, we're keeping the stream more towards the yellowy color. A little bit more towards the, oh, we'll see. A little bit more towards the white as we get to the front here. All right. Fix our edges of that up after a bit here. Actually, maybe we'll throw in some little rocks. Just taking a little bit of brown. You can add a little bit of black to it if you want. Kind of make it a gray. All right. Something will look like it's more of a stream than anything. Right, there we go. There we go. And then when we want, we can go back in. We can add white, pure white if we want. Maybe it'll start to stand out a little bit more. Yeah. Pure white. Might turn a little gray, because you know, you're mixing colors here. But that white will just give the indication of some those water bubbles. Water getting serious around this area. Water is serious in this area. All right, a little bit more water. We're just about there. Always try and get the bottom of those rocks because it kind of works its way around those rocks, right? It's working its way around those rocks and through those rocks. I think that's it. I think we're okay with that there, you know? I think, no, yeah, that's okay. That looks like a nice little stream. You can go back in after and you can add a little bit more yellow or something like that. Certain areas if you want it to look certain areas a little smoother or something. Right? Just like that. That's fine. Okay, so now that we're doing that, we're going to go back in a little bit more with our green and our black. And I want to start adding some, no, a little bit more green, I think. Yeah, not, sure. We're going to just add a little bit more green on here. Right? All right. It works because we have our black already under there, right? We already have our black under there. And I want to do maybe, we'll see how much time we got here in just a minute. Maybe I want to do another, and we're getting close. We got to push it. We got to push it. So I'm going to start adding another layer over here. Yes, sir. All right, so now I want to take that yellow and I want to figure some areas where that is just going to pop. Maybe we need yellow and green together. Yeah, I think that's, it's like light is hitting that area. Maybe it just shimmers across this area, just touching a few spots there. You know? Maybe it shimmers across that area. Maybe some spots in here where it's shining nice and bright. Right, just hitting those areas. And again, that yellow disappears real quick for some reason. And I know what we should do. We should add just a little bit of orange to it. kind of like that feel. Yeah, no, maybe not quite that much. Too much paint. Yeah, see, just blobbing a little bit. That's not what we want. That's not what we want, but that's okay. We're just gonna make it work, you know. Okay, so I'm gonna have just a couple spots. Nope, need to go green with that. Just a couple spots on the outsides. It's just being hit with some light. Okay, so now let's do one more big tree. Yeah, we got time for another tree. We always have time for another tree, don't we? We always got time for another tree. And this guy's gonna be black. All right, so let's do this. Yeah, put a big guy right there. Yeah, and this forest has big fat trees in there. Woo! Big trees. This guy's gonna connect right there. Right there. What are we gonna do? I mean, we gotta add a big branch from him. Can't just leave him alone there like that. I'm gonna add a hint of water. See if I can get that coming off a little bit smoother. Yes, sir. Look at that. There's better. See? Now, if you have a little liner brush or something like that, it's definitely going to come off to where it's like the little curves are going to be nicer and smoother. So, but I want to start with just having that big branch out there, right? I've got to start with that. Have another big guy off the back. Not overly worried about that. Maybe there's another guy here. See how big we want him. See how big we want him. So now I might go into that liner brush. Get some more water on it and go into the black. Make that black run nice. A little bit more water. It's not runny enough. It should come right off that brush real easy. Real easy like. Excuse me. See, look at that. If done right, it should do that. It should not be a problem to get it off that brush. Okay, I think we're almost there for that. Yeah, I think I like that. So now, what I want to do quickly is I'm going to let's add some few highlights. And then what we're going to do is we're going to go in and we're going to add some branches and be done with it. Then we'll call it a painting, I think. Yeah, we're at that spot. Let's go through. It's the little details that count, you know. It's just the little details, you know, the little things. Might not even be like fancy, but it just as long as it has the indication that something's there. And again, you can get all the fancy details last. Don't stress over that. Do the fancy stuff last. Do the fancy stuff last. Sometimes it's better if you just let it dry, right? And then you do your really light details at the end. That way, because acrylics is so much different again than your typical oil-based paints and stuff like that. It's just you need to do it faster, a little bit faster, or else it just doesn't sit as good, or blend as good rather. Sorry, but if you let your acrylics dry, then those last colors can just pop on there, right? Look at that. Look at that. Just the minor stuff. Just the minor stuff. I'm going to do a little bit of yellow right along that ledge. Oh, yeah, we got that yellow just a popping. Right? Oh yeah, that yellow pop. Look at that. Further back you go, the darker is just probably the color you want to get. Right? You probably want to get a little bit darker back there. Actually, a little bit of that. All right, I'm kind of happy with that. So, a couple more spots and we're good to go. Let's put some branches on this guy, or some leaves, sorry. And then we'll make it. So you just having just a little bit of that paint on your brush and just blending it through, just kind of marbles it up a little bit and gives it the feel there's a whole bunch of shadows or light or whatever's hitting it. Right? All right, I think we're okay there. I think we're okay now. Okay, so now what we want to do is I want to add some red leaves. I'm going to add a little bit of red and black together first, though. And I'm going to go. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Ooh, look at that. Look at that. A little bit closer to the sun, she pops a little more straight red. Look at that. Oh, yeah. Yes, sir. Ooh, I like that. A bit more black back there. Trying to cover some of that up, you know, or a little bit higher up. I'm liking that. Does it work? Well, we'll see. A bit more red maybe on those outside areas. Yeah. All right. Nice red leaves back there, you know. Maybe they cover up this area. Maybe they cut all the way across and just boom. Right? Maybe there's some branches sticking out behind you that we're not seeing and it's just covering it all up. Then we'll hit some spots with some lighter red. Give it some highlights. If you want to go even redder, you can add just a hint of white or yellow maybe. Something like that, and that should layer it up nice. Now on the right side here, I'm going to end with just a little bit of yellow, a little bit of white. Maybe just indication that there's... Nope, that's not the color we're quite looking for. Just maybe some bushes here. Just some flowers or something like that. Maybe there's a few more over here. Yeah, maybe there's a few along the river. All right, one last little thing and then we'll sign off. We'll sign off. Thank you. I hope you enjoyed the painting today. I wish, you know, like I said, sometimes it just seems like an hour is not enough. But this is where you get to take over. And you get to do your thing and let yourself show off what you got, right? It's time for you to get there and make it happen. I'm going to pull up my pen. I'm not going to pull up a pen. I'm just going to pull up a... I need to pull up my paintbrush. I'm just going to see if I can hit a few spots here. There's a couple other things. I think what I might do after is just add another... I might add another tree, but you know what? Here I'm just going to do a little bit darker bush. Just a little bush. All right. And the last thing is I'm going to add... No. It didn't quite work. what I'm going to do, didn't have time to let it dry. There's an indication of something there. There's something there. There's something there. Maybe I want to just add just a little bit more. Just. There's something there. We don't know what it is. Some sort of flowers. Boom. We're not quite done yet. Because I want to fix some stuff up, you know, just a little bit, not a whole lot. I just want to fix some stuff up. Feel that I didn't do justice on some of this stuff. The $2 brush experiment. Tell you, it works. It works. It works. You know what? I forgot. I was supposed to use 2 brushes today. And I did not. And I did not. And I did not. And I did not. I really liked that other yellow. I gotta get that other yellow again. Put it back in business. I wanted to kind of set some grass back in there a little bit, you know? Maybe make it look like a little bush was back there, and maybe there's something back there, but nothing crazy, just to show a little something. Just to show a little something back there. Just to show a little something. Some little rocks back there. Let's see what I'm missing. I'm okay with that. I want to hit that up on the right side a little bit more. I feel like this is what I meant to do. Pick a few areas that stand out on that side. Some of this stand out, like it's bushies over here, some nice, cool, flowery bushies, just right. Excuse me. Right. Right. Just some bushies back here. Just fill up the whole area, you know? Just do what you need to do. All right, I think I'm okay with that. That's a little bit better. As much as I wanted a tree in there, I'm okay with it. Not having a big tree in there. I'm okay with that. What I'm not okay with A little bit of detail I could have put in there. You know, you can always do like whoosh. Inside the grass. You can always do a little extra. Piece of grass coming up, right? Maybe a little bit darker. Maybe some little twigs or something sticking up through there. Right. There's always lots of stuff you can do. Right. Always lots you can add. I think we're good with that. You know what? No, I got to do one more thing. This is for the extra crowd. This is for all the extras that didn't have to stop at an hour. I feel like I need to do one more thing. Yep. You knew it was coming. You said, I know it's coming. Now, I don't want to cover a whole bunch of stuff in here, but I do want to cover a little bit. Yeah, we're going to go all the way to the bottom here. Just like that. A little bit more black, a little bit of water. I want that black to come off smooth. Wade in the water. Yes, sir. Here we go. I just felt like that was missing, you know? Sometimes you just know what's missing. And it has a big, huge old branch here that just connects to the side of it. Maybe I want to do some orangey kind of leaves there or something. Maybe dark brown, dark. You know what? I have to make it so it pops up somewhere. Here. There we go. Just like that. Just like that. There we go. I'm okay with that. Now I'm going to take that little brush, or the liner brush, something of the sorts, some sort of brush. I'm going to go into that black. I'm just going to pull off a few little branches. Nothing crazy because we don't have to fill in a whole bunch here. Right? We don't have to fill in a whole bunch. Go up a little bit higher. Sorry if I messed up on all that. I'm not really paying attention to a lot that I'm doing. Besides painting. Okay, so that's enough for that. Now I'm going to start adding a little bit of So this is just brown. It's just black and orange together. That makes a nice brown. And I'm just kind of up and down, blend it up and in. Fade it. You can put your highlights on as soon as you got a little bit of structure to the tree. Okay, I'm going to do a little bit brighter. A couple spots. Right? We want this tree to really have some curves to it. Or some definition is the word I guess I'm looking for. The definition. But that definition can't overpower the whole tree, you know? It's got to look like it flows together. So again, the bright is usually closest to where that sunlight is going to hit, right? You don't want the bright on the opposite side. Just look odd. Right. All right, here we go. Question is, what color leaves do we want to do here? Right? What color leaves do we want to do here? I'm unsure. Unsure as of yet. I'll figure it out as soon as I get down towards the bottom. You know what? That I might just want straight yellow. Yep. That outside edge, just a little more straight yellow. Gonna make a couple of spots in here. Yes, sir. All right, I'm kind of okay with that, you know. I think we've built the tree up enough that we can now put some leaves on there. Yeah, I think that's enough. Maybe just, we got a good little bit down here. See, look at that. See, I think that tree is just what it needs, right? Now, I'm going to go into orange, a little bit of black, a little bit of orange, a little bit of black. And I want to put, nope, darker. Just nothing crazy, just some other different style of leaves. Right. Orange, a little bit of black. Maybe this tree stands out a little bit further. Maybe it stands out a little bit further than the other one. Now, maybe the highlight color for these leaves is orange. Because it's an autumn picture. Maybe. It seems like it works, you know? And again, don't fill it all in. You want to leave room to breathe. Leave room for the tree to breathe. And there we have it. I think I'm okay with that. Maybe I just want to do a touch more highlight colors on certain areas to kind of maybe make it feel like it's going to pop a little bit. Maybe it makes it worse, I don't know. It is a color that seems to want to not really blend well. Maybe it needs to have a little bit of red in there. Maybe I ruined it. Let's see if we can fix it. How about that? Let's see if we can fix this. What can we do to fix this? I don't. I feel like I'm going to do... I think I know what I'm going to do. I think I know what I'm going to do. Yep. A little bit brighter. Okay. Somehow, somewhere up in here, I guess there's more of a cherry blossom style tree. Some pink leaves. Maybe I really failed at this part. Boom, 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 boom. I think we'll be okay. Right? Yeah, I think we'll be okay here. I think that's okay. I think that's a-okay. We're okay. I think we're okay. There we go. You know, see? Is it perfect? No. Does it need to be perfect? No. There we go. Maybe just a couple more on this spot. See? Pink plays a part in it anyway. There we go. I'm okay with that. That's a fun one. A little different than what I thought it'd be. Up here anyway. I could go in and repaint that whole thing once it dries, but I'm okay with that. We're good. Peace out.